Adam Steele arrived 10 minutes early, though he would never admit he was nervous. The rooftop restaurant was perched 50 floors above the city, its glass walls reflecting the glow of skyscrapers like a sea of fallen stars. A soft winter wind brushed across the open terrace, carrying the faint scent of jasmine from the decorative planters. He loosened his tie, feeling the weight of the evening settle over him. This was supposed to be routine, another blind date arranged by people who thought they understood his life. His board had insisted he, at least try, claiming he worked too much, isolated himself too often, and scared away investors with his stone-cold persona. He pretended not to care, but even he couldn't deny the loneliness that crept into his penthouse on quiet nights. He checked his watch again, irritation mixing with a strange flutter he didn't recognize. Maybe it was hope, maybe it was exhaustion, he wasn't sure. Around him, couples laughed over cocktails, celebrating anniversaries, promotions, or just the luxury of being together. For a moment, he wondered what it would feel like to want someone, not for convenience, not for reputation, but for something real. A server approached with a polite smile. "Your guest hasn't arrived yet, sir. Would you like to order something while you wait?" "No," Adam said, too sharply. He exhaled. "Not yet." The server moved away, leaving him alone with the glowing skyline and his own restlessness. He thought about canceling, about standing up, walking to the elevator, and going back to the predictable quiet of his penthouse office. But something held him in place, something he couldn't name. Then, the elevator chimed. Adam looked up, expecting another polished socialite, or worse, someone his board had coached to charm him. But the woman who stepped out didn't fit into any of the categories he'd grown used to. She looked startled, clutching a faded backpack against her chest as if she'd run straight from another life into this one. For a split second she thought she was in the wrong place, he could see it in her wide eyes. And in that exact moment, Adam's curiosity replaced every trace of frustration. He didn't know who she was yet. He only knew this. His final blind date was about to change everything. She approached the table slowly, almost cautiously, as if unsure she belonged anywhere near its crystal glasses and linen-draped elegance. Adam stood out of habit, but the surprise on her face made him ease his posture, softening in a way he didn't think he was capable of. "Mr. Steele?" she asked, her voice gentle yet edged with nerves. "Yes," he replied, curious despite himself. Up close, she looked nothing like the women he'd been set up with before. Her dress was simple, clean, carefully ironed but clearly inexpensive. A tiny stain near her shoulder, barely noticeable, betrayed a rushed evening. Her hair was slightly wind-tousled, not from a salon blowout but from juggling too many responsibilities and not enough time. And her eyes, warm brown, with hints of exhaustion, held a softness he wasn't used to. I'm Maya. I'm really sorry I'm late," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, embarrassed. "My babysitter canceled at the very last minute, and then the bus was delayed. I didn't think I was going to make it." Most people rambled to impress him. She rambled because life didn't give her room to breathe. Adam found himself listening, truly listening. "It's perfectly fine," he said, and to his own surprise, he meant it. He even pulled out her chair for her. She blinked, not expecting that kind gesture from a man whose reputation was carved from ice. When she sat, her hands trembled slightly as she placed the worn backpack beside her. He wondered about it, why she brought it, why she kept it close, but didn't ask. Instead, he asked the question he never bothered with on previous dates. "Long day?" Her laugh was soft, self-conscious. "Long week," she admitted. "I work mornings at a bakery and nights cleaning offices. It's not glamorous, but it's steady." For the first time, Adam didn't think about mergers or meetings or profit margins. He thought about a woman who worked more hours than anyone in his company and still showed up with a smile. "You must be tired," he said quietly. "I'm always tired," she answered with a shy grin, "but I'm used to it." He studied her, expecting bitterness, but found none. Instead, she radiated an exhausted optimism that felt foreign but strangely magnetic. Then she mentioned her son, how he loved dinosaurs, drew them on every scrap of paper, and insisted she tape his drawings on the fridge because Mama deserves decorations. Adam felt something unfamiliar flicker inside him. This wasn't a date. It was the beginning of something that slipped past every wall he'd built. Their meals arrived, but neither of them paid much attention to the food. The conversation had shifted into an ease neither expected. Maya spoke with her hands when she grew excited, especially when describing the small victories of her week. Her son finally mastering a spelling word, a customer at the bakery leaving her an extra tip, fixing a leaky faucet on her own because plumbers cost more than rent these days. Adam found himself laughing at moments he normally wouldn't. Her humor wasn't polished or performative. It came from the messy corners of real life, from nights spent budgeting groceries or mornings hurrying a sleepy child out the door. He had spent years in boardrooms filled with rehearsed jokes and curated charm. But this was the kind of authenticity he'd forgotten existed. When the server refilled their drinks, Maya leaned in slightly, lowering her voice. "I'm sorry if all this is boring. I'm not used to places like this, or dates like this, honestly." "Neither am I," Adam admitted. That made her laugh again. "You, really?" He could have told her about the countless women who'd sat across from him, each trying to impress him with designer labels, business ideas, or carefully crafted humility. Instead, he told her, simply, "I'm not used to conversations that feel real." Her smile softened, suddenly shy. But then, as if catching herself, Maya straightened and reached for her glass quickly. In doing so, the strap of the worn backpack slipped, revealing what was inside. Not makeup, not a wallet, but a small folded blanket and a plastic dinosaur toy with a missing tail. She froze, embarrassed, and quickly zipped the bag. Sorry, I didn't mean, my son gets anxious when I'm away. I keep some of his things with me." "Silly, I know, it's not silly," Adam said, surprising both of them. Silence settled between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind that made her expression turn thoughtful, almost vulnerable. "Most men don't want to date someone with a lot of baggage," she whispered, eyes lowered. Adam leaned forward, his voice steady. "I don't see baggage." She met his gaze, and for the first time, he saw the mix of strength and fear she carried every day. The resilience of someone who fought life alone and still refused to break. Something shifted in him then, quietly, deeply, and irrevocably. He didn't want the night to end. He didn't want this connection to fade like every forced date before it. He wanted to know her. Really know her. When the check arrived, Maya checked the time and visibly tensed. "I'm so sorry," she said, gathering her things quickly, "but I have to catch the last bus. The next one won't come for another hour, and I can't leave my son alone that long." She stood so abruptly her chair scraped softly against the marble floor. Adam rose instinctively. Every other woman he'd gone out with lingered, expecting dessert, champagne, or an invitation to his penthouse. But Maya was already worried about getting home on time, about a little boy waiting for her in a dimly lit apartment. Something about that, it pierced him. "Let me drive you," he said before he could stop himself. She froze. No, it's okay. I don't want to inconvenience you." "You're not," he said, and his voice held a gentleness he didn't know he possessed. "Really?" After a moment, she nodded, but only because necessity overpowered pride. They walked through the silent hallway to the private elevator, the city lights glittering like a distant ocean beneath them. Inside, she shifted her backpack to her front protectively, as if guarding the tiny dinosaur inside. Adam noticed she kept glancing at the floor numbers, anxious, not afraid of him, but afraid of being late. When they stepped out into the underground parking garage, his sleek black car beeped unlocked. She paused, taking in the luxury with a flicker of hesitation before getting in. The drive started quietly. The farther they went from the restaurant, the more the scenery changed. The polished business district gave way to older buildings, cracked sidewalks, and narrow streets lit by flickering street lamps. With each turn, Adam felt a weight settle in his chest. Not pity, but admiration for how she navigated a world he'd never had to fight against. "This is me," she said softly when he pulled up in front of a small, aging apartment building. Some windows glowed with warm light, others were dark or boarded. Before she could open the door, the front entrance burst open and a small boy came running out, his socks sliding across the pavement. "Mama!" Maya's face lit up with a joy so pure it transformed her completely. She knelt as he barreled into her arms, hugging him so tightly it looked like she was breathing again for the first time all night. Adam watched, struck silent. The billionaire, the ruthless CEO, none of that mattered here. In this moment, watching her holding her child, he saw something he'd never seen before. Love he hadn't known he was starving for. As she looked up at him, breathless, smiling with gratitude and something softer, he understood with sudden clarity. This wasn't the end of a blind date. It was the beginning of a life he hadn't even known he wanted.